Pag freedom of expression yan, hindi yan pwedeng gawin mong inciting to terrorism.
It strengthens the position that dissent, exercise of rights, should not be considered terrorism.
But they agree the prevailing definition of terrorism is still problematic and might be the subject of their motion for consideration. Voting 9-6, the High Court also voided the second method of designating terrorists under Section 25. This refers to the request of other countries to designate terrorists, which may be adopted by the Anti-Terrorism Council or ATC. But the Council's power to designate a person or a group as terrorists remains. What's also alarming for the petitioners, the 24-day detention allowed under Section 29 of the law is still alive. Human rights group Karapatan says retaining repressive provisions will only worsen the already dismal human rights situation in the country. The Supreme Court made it clear that on the basis of the current petitions, all the other challenged provisions of RA 11479 are not unconstitutional. But the law expert says other provisions of the Anti-Terrorism Act can still be challenged when an actual case is filed. 37 petitions were filed challenging the law's constitutionality, and the petitioners are firm. The fight is not yet over. Anjali Mario, CNN Philippines.
Despite the two portions flagged by the Supreme Court for government top lawyer Solicitor General Jose Calida, the decision recognizes the, quote, need for a dynamic law that will defend citizens against the baleful impacts of terrorism. The Anti-Terrorism Council says it will respect the decision of the Supreme Court. While he's happy that the decision is out, the Council's Vice Chairman, National Security Advisor Hermogenes Esperon, says their lawyers will still have to study it once they get a copy of the court's ruling. Council member Interior Secretary Eduardo Año says the two exceptions are minimal and won't affect the law at all, adding they will make appropriate adjustments. Presidential hopeful Vice President Leni Robredo says she is hopeful the rest of the concerns will be substantially resolved in the High Court's full decision. Robredo reiterates the law must address the root causes of terrorism and should not be used as a pretext to stifle freedom of expression or legitimate dissent. The High Court released its decision on the eve of International Human Rights Day. For Robredo's running mate, Senator Kiko Pangilinan, it would have been a meaningful gift to celebrate tomorrow, to strike out what he says are the remaining dangerous provisions of the law. Pangilinan was among the petitioners seeking to declare the law unconstitutional. Meanwhile, Senators Ping Lacson and Tito Soto, who are among the authors of the highly contested law at the Senate, praised the Supreme Court's decision. With the anti-terrorism law, Lacson is hopeful the Philippines will now be removed from the Global Terrorism Index.
Alam mo, yung decision ng Supreme Court, in just one short sentence, yung peace wins over terror. Ako bilang principal sponsor, masaya doon sa decision ng Korte Suprema. Ang principal author si Senate President.
Hail, hail, Supreme Court, and beware the terrorists.
While another presidential hopeful, Senator Manny Pacquiao, respects the decision of the High Court, Leody de Guzman says he is disappointed the justices did not declare the entire law unconstitutional. De Guzman argues the law will only endanger activists' rights or anyone who wants to protest against those in power. He adds unless there are judicial reforms, magistrates will remain loyal not to the Filipino people, but to the president who appointed them to their posts. A week after wrapping up a massive nationwide vaccination drive, the government is now gearing up for a second round to be held next week. Caroline Buanquin tells us what to expect.
Denda is among those who recently received a first dose of COVID-19 vaccine. She even traveled from Metro Manila to her hometown in Rizal to get inoculated.
Para sigurado po na safe po talaga sa COVID po.
But Rolando Bumulan is still unvaccinated. He's been living on the streets of Quezon City and no one has approached him yet about getting the shot. As of Wednesday, over 54 million Filipinos, or nearly half of the entire population, already had at least one dose of COVID-19 vaccine, thanks to the massive immunization drive last week. over 10 million Filipinos have been vaccinated in 5 days.
Sa pagtatapos ng taong ito, tiwala kami na kaya-kaya nating maabot na 54 million o higit pa sa fully vaccinated individuals ang matetala natin.
Health Secretary Francisco Duque sees 77 million Filipinos fully vaccinated by first quarter of 2022 and 99 million or 90% of the total population by the end of Duterte's presidency. There's another round of massive vaccination drive from December 15 to 17. This time, local governments aim to inoculate 7 million Filipinos.
Ang problema natin ngayon yung mga malalayong lugar, yung mga maliliit na bayan. That's where we're focusing our efforts now.
Among the focus areas are in the Bangsamoro region. Although daily vaccination there improved, it still has the lowest vaccine coverage due to hesitancy and challenges in transporting vaccines.
I really encourage that the LGUs seek the complementary efforts of the private sector and the NGOs.
Among those helping is a private sector consortium Task Force T3. Since September, they've been assisting local governments in Manila and Quezon City to reach unvaccinated individuals from marginalized sectors. Those who don't have a home to get registered or means to go to vaccination sites, and those who can't afford to lose a day of work or have no one to take care of their children.
We've tried our best to address these barriers. For the transportation, jeeps were provided. There were groceries provided to everyone. There was lunch for the day, there's food, and for some they were even given a bit of cash to compensate the day's work.
For those with no permanent address, non-government organizations vouch for the vaccinee and assist in ensuring they get a second dose.
The organizers of these events should closely coordinate with both the local CSO networks on the ground who actually know these people, yung lubog talaga. Kasi sila po makaka-convince lalo na kung hesitant or meron pong mga ibang concerns.
The World Health Organization and the Health Department are checking how they can replicate what Task Force T3 has been doing in other provinces. Caroline Bongkin, CNN Philippines.
The World Health Organization cautions against drawing conclusions about the severity of new COVID-19 variant Omicron as it spreads to 57 countries. Early studies from South Africa show Omicron causes a milder disease than the Delta variant. The WHO is calling on countries to scale up testing and sequencing, improve vaccine coverage, and submit more data to get a clearer picture of Omicron's severity and symptoms.
We're not defenseless against Omicron or Delta. The steps countries take today and in the coming days and weeks will determine how Omicron unfolds. If countries wait until their hospitals start to fill up, it's too late. Don't wait. Act now.
Meanwhile, promising news about how Pfizer's vaccine works against Omicron. The firm says a third dose can neutralize the variant and increase antibody levels 25-fold, according to preliminary studies. South African researchers earlier found that 2 Pfizer shots don't have enough protection against Omicron. Coming up on Newsnight, a vow to waive bank secrecy rights, plus a new addition to One Tandem's Senate slate. We give you the latest on 2022 aspirants. And what were Filipinos most curious about this year? Find out which topics topped Google searches when we return.
Taliwala pa man kausaban sa quarantine restrictions, ipadayon nato ang pagsunod sa minimum public health standards tungod kay mao paghapon kini ang nagunang paagi aron kapugan ang pagkatap sa COVID-19 sa atong nasod. Aron kalikayan ang pagbalik sa mas higpit nga quarantine restrictions ug masiguro ang padayong pagbangon sa atong mga komunidad, ayon nato ang atong pag-amping. Gidapit nato ang tanang lokal nga pangagamhanan nga ipatuman paghihapon sa husto ang prevent, detect, isolate, quarantine, treat, reintegrate strategies o mga safety protocols alang sa kaluwasan sa tanan. Sa lahat ng oras, tayo'y mag-ingat upang ating mga komunidad ay maingat. Usa ka mensahe gikan sa DOH, KBP ug niining sibiyahan. Niining panahon sa pandemya, importante ang paggamit o paghatod sa hustong impormasyon. Ang pagpakalap sa peking balita o fake news may tungod sa mga bakuna batok sa COVID-19, naghatod sa kahadlok o pagduda. Tungod niini, padayon nga gipahinumduman ang publiko nga ang tanang mga bakuna epektibo o luwas nga pangdepensa batok COVID-19. Ang mga bakuna sa COVID-19 miagi kini sa masubsob nga pagtuon o pagsusi sa mga eksperto. Dili kita basta-basta motuo sa mga hulungihong lamang. Inay, mukuha sa mga impormasyon gikan sa kasaligan o beripikadong tinubdan. Ang taong may tiwala sa agham, makakamit ang kaligtasang inaasam. Usa ka pahinumdom gikan sa DOH, KBP ug niining sibiyahan. Kini inyong konsihala Bebot Rodriguez. Taliwala sa kalisod kita magpadayon sa pag-ampo nga himsog ug malinawon. Amping kanunay, maayong Pasko mga igsuon. Bebot Rodriguez, ang probinsyana, may kaisog ug kasing-kasing sa usa ka inahan.
Ang panahon sa Pasko, mo'y panahon alang sa kalipay kasadya sa Kristohanong katilingban o sa tibuok kalibutan. Atong sa ulugon ang Pasko o bagong tuig uban sa pag-amping, bisan pa man ning panahon sa pandemya. Ang Pasko panahon sa paghinatagay, paghinahang panay, panagdigom sa pamilya. Higala og mga barkada, ang Pasko mo'y paghandong sa pagkatao sa atong manunubos na si Ginoong Hesukristo. Si Mayor Alexis Quina sa lungsod sa Balingasag, Misamis Oriental, uban sa iyang hamiling manay, nitimbaya sa tanang taga-Balingasag, Misamis Oriental ug sa tanan, sa usa ka malipayong Pasko o mulahang bagong tuig sa tanan. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year kaninyong tanan gikan ni Mayor Alexis Quina sa lungsod sa Balingasag.
Christmas is a season not only of rejoicing, but of reflection. Si Dr. Doris Fe Tagayuna sa unang distrito ng siyudad sa Cagayan de Oro, uminaot nga matang banay makasinati sa matuod na gugma o kalipay ning kapanahunan sa Pasko hangtod na sa pagsugat sa bagong tuig. Ang iyang pag-ampo nga mapuno sa milagro ang atong kasaulugan uban sa dili malintang pangitabo hangtod sa hangtod mataga nato sa bili. Sa gihapon, ang Pasko is the most wonderful time of the year. Malipayong Pasko mulahang bagong tuig sa tanan. Mensahe nga gipaabot ni Dr. Doris Fe Tagayuna sa unang distrito ng siyudad sa Cagayan de Oro. Merry Christmas! No matter what happens in life, make sure you don't stop believing in yourself. May this wonderful time of Christmas and New Year fills your life with happiness, health, and wealth. Merry Christmas to you and your family. Have a nice time. A message from Arlene Katayok-Ryben from Germany. Si Arlene Katayok-Ryben na taga-Baliwagan, Balingasag, Misamis Oriental, usa na ka-certified podologist sa Germany. Nag-specialize siya sa mga diabetic patients and circulatory disorders of the lower extremity. Subli sa tanan, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year from Arlene Katayok-Ryben of Germany.
Polls.
Today is World Anti-Corruption Day.
Senator Panfilo Lacson vows to open his bank account to the public should he become president. In a media briefing, the standard bearer of Partido Reforma says he will do this on day one in office and will encourage his fellows. And Tito Soto says it's an individual choice.
Ilang congresses na, lagi ko pinapile yung bill na yan, na pag ikaw pumasok sa gobyerno, dapat deemed waive yung iyong karapatan, yung rights mo under the Bank Secrecy Act. So I'm just being consistent. But to challenge the others, no, I will not challenge them. It's personal.
In Cavite, the Bongbong Marcos Sara Duterte tandem held a caravan where Marcos announced the inclusion of former Public Works Secretary Mark Villar in their senatorial lineup. Villar has yet to make an official statement on the endorsement.
Secretary Mark Villar na siyang susunod na isa pang senador ay inuluklok po natin sa Senado yan, si Mark Villar. Alam niyo naman yung trabaho niya. Nakita naman ninyo pagka kayo babiyahe kahit saan, makikita niyo yung mga bagong project.
Aksyon Demokratikos Isko Moreno and Willie Ong visited Malabon and Navotas cities. In a dialogue with residents, the Manila mayor promised to improve the plight of the poor. He vowed to lower fuel taxes and electricity charges by half.
Sa tulong ninyo, nagtagumpay tayo. Babawasan ko ng 50% ang buwis ng petrolyo. Pangalawa, para dire-diretso na, babawasan ko ang buwis ng 50% ang buwis ng kuryente.
Manny Pacquiao meanwhile held a motorcade in Quezon City. Traffic slowed down on Commonwealth where the motorcade passed. It is becoming a common sight for aspirants, making their presence felt, and the senator had this to say.
Humingi ako ng paumanhin doon sa mga naabala at sa haba ng sumama kasi supposedly kunti ilang cars lang kami pero maraming sumama, nagbigay ng suporta sa atin. So kaya humaba.
Vice President Leni Robredo and Labor leader Leody de Guzman were off the public radar today. George Cahiles, CNN Philippines.
Vice presidential aspirant Sara Duterte meets with 9 of the 17 mayors in Metro Manila. Among those present during last Wednesday's lunch were the mayors of Parañaque, Caloocan, San Juan City, Navotas, Marikina, Valenzuela, Pasay, Mandaluyong, and Makati. MMDA spokesperson Ben-Hur Abalos, as well as the vice mayors of Las Piñas and Pasig, also met with the presidential daughter. The mayors of Pasig, Quezon City, Las Piñas, Muntinlupa, Malabon, Taguig, and Pateros did not attend the meeting. Presidential aspirant and Manila City Mayor Isko Moreno also wasn't there. Poll watchdog Contra Daya calls on Senator Bongo to formally withdraw his presidential bid as soon as possible. Go has yet to file his statement of withdrawal before the COMELEC, 10 days since he announced he is backing out from the race.
Bongo should also, put his money where his mouth is, so to speak, by, just simply withdrawing. I mean, we're sick and tired of the drama already. We don't want the risk of voters, being so disillusioned with the entire circus that they don't see the importance of voting on May 9 anymore. Don't wait until election day to withdraw. You have to withdraw now, preferably before January, so that your name will be taken out of the official ballot.
Contra Daya also urges the COMELEC to resolve the multiple petitions against former Senator Bongbong Marcos' 2022 bid within the year.
I think the COMELEC should act swiftly and decisively on such issues so that the doubts will be forgotten. Bumabalik na naman tayo dun sa usapin ng agam-agam. Why? Many people say that the reason Bongo doesn't want to withdraw is because he is supposed to be a backup to the situation if Marcos would end up being disqualified.
Meanwhile, supporters of Marcos and Go gathered outside the COMELEC's office, asking if their bets can remain in the running. They even had a showdown of sorts.
Na pinagwawatak-watak tayo ng mga iilang tao. Disqualified na kayo! At wala ng chance!
Work from home or hybrid arrangements will likely be the new normal post-pandemic as more companies go digital and as traffic in Metro Manila worsens. The World Bank says flexible jobs that can be done at home were resistant during the pandemic, with productivity gains from work from home arrangements. It also sees more demand in digital skills in the workforce as more companies use digital technologies.
Before the pandemic, there were a lot of proponents for working from home because of flexibility reason, and Dr. Urata mentioned the notorious traffic, so you don't have to be stuck in the traffic. So there is certain flexibility and saving of time and then productivity gain from work from home. But the downside is that you lose the interaction with your peers.
But the World Bank also says the lack of equipment and reliable internet access at home are major barriers for remote work. 10-10, 11-11, 12-12. Do these numbers sound familiar? Well, if you're an online shopaholic, you know what those mean. E-commerce platforms and retailers are once again gearing up for the big 12-12 sale. And as senior correspondent David Santos reports, this could be the nation's biggest shopping day ever.
Brisk online sales is a sign of our changing times.
Kasi mas mura sa ngayon at saka mas convenient.
Siyempre, doon ka na lang sa bahay, hindi ka nalalabas.
Even before the pandemic, Filipino consumers have been setting sales records for top e-commerce platforms like Lazada and Shopee. COVID-19 no doubt fast-tracked the pace of our migration to digital shopping.
Ang hirap lumabas kaya online shopping na lang.
Hindi siya hassle yung magpapaikot-ikot ka pa sa mall. Mas safe kasi na dumadating na lang yung item or yung product sa bahay.
And even if foot traffic in malls and brick-and-mortar stores are picking up, thanks to more relaxed restrictions, experts say there's nothing like online sales such as Sunday's 12-12 to set new records.
I feel like we're going to spend more this year with the comfort levels that we have and the trust that we have on the platforms now than we did last year.
Aside from bargains and free shipping, convenience attracts the consumer, especially with payments made either through cash on delivery or digital wallet.
The benefit of getting your stuff handed to you or delivered to your doorstep is the number one benefit.
With Filipinos shelling out from their 13-month pay for holiday gifts, electronics, groceries, personal care, and clothes are among the hot items.
What we're seeing now is that Filipinos are a lot more budget conscious and they're focusing on essential items. At the same time, we're seeing Filipinos upgrading their homes. They're buying a lot of home and living items and even some accessories now that the economy is opening up a bit.
In previous years, Filipinos spent bulk of online purchases on vacation and airfare.
However, with the complications right now of travel, I think we'll definitely see less of that this year.
A pre-pandemic survey showed 7 in 10 Filipinos bought a product or service online, making the Philippines a major regional e-commerce market. In fact, Google predicts online consumer sales in the country will quadruple by 2025. Proof that regardless of conditions, Filipinos will always find ways to spend and keep the economy going. David Santos, CNN Philippines.
Still ahead on Newsnight. Apart from COVID-19, what other topics did Filipinos Google the most this year? And Pantone's color for 2022 is called Very Peri. What does it symbolize? Find out after the break.
O Bisdak Party List, andam laban, mutambag, umulantaw sa kayuhan kanatong mga Bisayang dako. Ako Bisdak.
This message is paid for by friends of Dodong Mendez. Merry Christmas! No matter what happens in life, make sure you don't stop believing in yourself. May this wonderful time of Christmas and New Year fills your life with happiness, health, and wealth. Merry Christmas to you and your family. Have a nice time. A message from Arlene Katayo-Kureiben from Germany. Si Arlene Katayo-Kureiben na taga-Baliwagan, Balingasan, Misamis Oriental, usa na ka-certified podologist sa Germany. Nag-specialize siya sa mga diabetic patients and circulatory disorders of the lower extremity. Subli sa tanan, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year from Arlene Katayo-Kureiben of Germany.
Kini inyong konsehala Bebot Rodriguez. Taliwala sa kalisod kita magpadayon sa pag-ampo nga himsog ug malinawon. Amping kanunay, maayong Pasko mga igsuon. Bebot Rodriguez, ang probinsyana, may kaisog ug kasing-kasing sa usak ka inahan.
Daghan na ang nisalig sa Bioprovix, ang probiotic supplement na kasaligan.
Ako si Mitch, 30 anyos, taga Carmen. Mag-isa na katuig ang akong agwanta sa pagbalik-balik nga hyperacidity. Gani, bisan unsa na nga tambal ang akong ginainom mo balik ra gihapon. Pasalamat ko kay gipasuway ko sa akong silingan sa pag-maintain sa Bioprovix capsule. Magduha na ka semana nga akong ginamintain ang probiotics ug wa gyud ni balik ang akong hyperacidity. Ug lami na pod ang akong tulog ug baskog ang akong paminaw sa lawas.
Si Mitch go sa kapamatuod nga ang healthy body magsugod sa healthy tummy. Okay? Ay, okay! Ang Bioprovix Probiotics Capsule mapalit sa butika pangmasa o uban mga butika.
Are you okay? Okay.
Sa atong mga kaigsunan din sa Dakbayan sa Cagayan de Oro and sa ato sa mga kaigsunan nga mga bisita gikan sa ubang lugar sa Northern Mindanao and other parts of the country nga mo ani sa Cagayan de Oro to enjoy the beauty of the place. I wish you all a very, very Merry Christmas. And I wish you all also a very prosperous New Year. 2021 has not been easy for all of us, and but in spite of the difficulties that we went through, we were able to survive and hopefully build back better. We were able to surmount the challenges and hurdles that came our way. And as we are about to end the year 2021, we are very happy that we are ending with a good note, with a high note, no? Having brought the cases down and ensuring that our people are protected with their vaccination. We know that the year ahead, 2022, will be again full of challenges with the new variants and things like that. But you know, in spite of these challenges, we also know that the best way to fight, to overcome these challenges, is to just be careful and to observe the minimum public health standards. Very basic, very simple, but very effective. So as we enjoy this Christmas and welcome the new year, let us all thank God for the blessings that He has given us, and let us all pray together that God will give us a better year in 2022. A better year for all of us and for future generations. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to all of you, and daghang salamat sa inyong suporta. I love you all.
Ratsada na ang pagyagyag sa mga programa o proyekto sa opisina ni Congresswoman Juliet Uy sa ikadawang distrito sa Misamis Oriental. Ratsada na sa mga batiko sa katilingbanong isyu o politika. Sa way pagduha-duha, ratsada na. At ang ikanunay ang programang Ratsada sa Kautuhon, alas 12:30 paingon sa alas 2 sa hapon, Lunes paingon Sabado sa RPN TXKO Teleradyo.
Welcome back. What were Filipinos looking up online this year? Yes, it's still COVID-19 and more so than in 2020. COVID-19 prevention topped Google Philippines' list of most searched topics in 2021. Coronavirus was only third last year. Topics on vaccination also entered the top 5 in the news category, as well as the Miss Universe pageant and Manny Pacquiao's latest boxing match. Meanwhile, the Pinoy group has broken through top Google searches worldwide. SB19's Mapa landed 5th in the songs category, beating out BTS's Butter and Olivia Rodrigo's Good For You. Excited for 2022? Pantone has already announced the color of the year. And for the first time, the company created an entirely new one instead of picking from its pre-existing archive. Very Perry is a periwinkle U. Executive Director Latrice Iceman says it is the happiest of all blue U's, and the red undertone, quote, introduces an empowering feeling of newness. We have 16 days before Christmas. That's it for tonight. I'm Ruth Cabal for Newsnight, where we go above and beyond the headlines.
Mao'y bintana sa atong lawas at imana kini sama sa pag-atiman nato sa atong ipon, panit, puhok ug uban pa. Ang Health Code International nga nakabase sa Amerika mipadayag sa tiunay nga suporta alang sa lawas ng pagpakabana ilabi na sa atong mata. Ang tumang exposure ni ining atong mata nga dala sa pollution, radiation, ultraviolet ray ug bisan pa chemical nga anaa sa tubig nga atong ginakaligo matag adlaw mao'y usa sa mga dagkong hinungdan sa katarak, glaucoma, pterygium, sore eyes, eye stress, computer vision syndrome ug uban pa. Apan dili kita angay mabalakan ni ini tungod kay ana-anay CMD Eye Drops. CMD Eye Drops mohatag kini constant cleaning sa atong mata ug moprotektar kini sa posibleng pagkadaot ni ini nga dala sa alisngaw sa kalibutan. CMD Eye Drops patuloy 1 to 2 drops kada mata duha ngadto sa 3 ka beses matag adlaw alang sa piskat patuloy kaduha kada 5 ka minuto. Also introducing Cell Bio Food kung CBF, the most powerful natural microfood in the planet. Feed your cells, not your stomach. Ang Cell Bio Food adunay kompletong sangkap sa food nutrients nga kinahanglanon sa atong lawas. Ang pulo ka rason nganong CBF ang atong gabiton. Una, natural kini, alkaline food, health building microcell food, adunay cell growth factor, protection sa mga sakit, maayo para sa weight control, proven na kini, convenient ug ekonomiya. Cell Bio Food kung CBF na kita. Ug aduna pa ang SJ5 Supreme Fruits and Vegetables Powder Juice nga maayong source alang sa vitamin C, puno sa antioxidants, mupaligon sa atong immune system, mupa-increase sa atong body hydration, mu-boost sa atong energy level, maingon man better vascular health and promote longevity. JS5 Supreme ginamag gihapon sa Health Code International. FDA approved ug halal ang produkto sa Health Code International.
Ang produkto sa CMD mahimong mapalit sa sigahan sa RPN DXKO Teleradyo nga nahimutang sa Nusa Highway ning siyudad sa Cagayan de Oro. Alang sa health consultation, tawagan si Raquel Villanueva sa telepono numero 0956-2561-986. Sunda ang programang Lambo Misamis Oriental aron may balaan mo ang mga kalambuan ug pangitabo sa Misamis Oriental ubos ni Governor Bambi Mano. Lambo Misamis Oriental mohatag katinawan sa mga issues nga may kalabigitan ang pagdumala sa probinsya. Gusto mo bang updated ka? Gusto mo bang matinawan? O gusto mo bang masayran ang mga pangitabo karon sa Misamis Oriental? At tangi, matag adlaw, Lunes pa yung Sabado, alas 8 pa yung alas 10 ang takna sa buntag, dili lamang sa RPN TV5 o DXK Radio 1368. Lambo, Misamis Oriental. Time check, 15 minutos is a season not only of rejoicing, but of reflection. Si Dr. Doris Fe Tagayuna sa unang distrito ng siyudad sa Cagayan de Oro, minaon nga ang matag banay makasinati sa matuod nga gugma o kalipay nining kapanahunan sa Pasko hangtod na sa pagsugat sa bagong tuig. Ang iyang pag-ampo nga mapuno sa milagro ang atong kasaulugan uban sa dili madintang pangitabo nga hangtod sa hangtod mahatagan nato sa bili. Sa gihapon, ang Pasko is the most wonderful time of the year. Malit tayong Pasko, bulahang bagong tuig sa tanan. Mensahe nga gipaabot ni Dr. Doris Fe Tagayuna sa unang distrito ng siyudad sa Cagayan de Oro.
Ako bisdak party list andam laban mutambag umulantaw sa kayuhan kanatong mga Bisayang dako. Ako bisdak.
This message is paid for by friends of Dodong Mendez.
Kini inyong konsehala Bebot Rodriguez. Taliwala sa kalisod kita magpadayon sa pag-ampo nga himsog ug malinawon. Amping kanunay, maayong Pasko mga igsuon. Bebot Rodriguez, ang probinsyana, may kaisog o kasing-kasing sa usa ka inahan.
RPN, Radio Philippines Network Incorporated, DXPO. Presa sa Sindang Utso sa dalan sa inyong radyo. RPN DXKO, ang radyo ronda dili sa Dakbayan sa Cagayan de Oro. Sidiyahan na may ganaon sa katawan, ang daw serbisyo sa tanan. Ang RPN DXKO Radyo Ronda sakop sa KBP, kapisanan ng mga broadcaster ng Pilipinas.
No matter the drama or the comedy in the presidential race, all politics is still local, where dynasties either thrive or die or take turns with rivals, where many times personality and popularity trump platform. In Cainta, Rizal, Mayor Kit Nieto hopes to pass on the baton to his wife Ellen, who will face basketball superstar Alvin Patrimonio. And in vote-rich Quezon City, party list representative Mike Defensor, who was once a district representative, challenges incumbent Mayor Joy Belmonte. We talked to these two to see what they need to do to either take or retain the throne. Good evening, I'm Dion Taveros. Welcome to your weekly political appointment fix, Politics as usual. Our first guest tonight, Quezon City mayoral aspirant and current party list representative Mike Defensor. Good evening, Congressman. Ano ba yan? Congressman Mike, thank you very much for being with us tonight. You have a really interesting political history, your career. You started as one of the so-called Spice Boys back in 2000, 2001, and that was on your second term as Quezon City Congressman, and I remember that very well. You're the guys who filed the case and shepherded it, the impeachment case against President Erap, correct, Mike?
Yes, Pia, that's correct. I was elected in 1995 in Congress, and then I was re-elected in 98. And then sometime in the year 2000, we filed the impeachment case, and then the people power happened in 2001.
All right. And of course, that impeachment trial, I remember, because you were known as one of the so-called Spice Boys. Of course, this generation, Mike, doesn't know the Spice Boys.
Yeah.
I don't think they know the Spice Girls either, after whom you were named. No? So that was you, Ace Barbers, Mig Zubiri, Nani Braganza, Noni Andaya, and Ricky Sandoval. But anyway, so the impeachment trial happened, like you said, it led to EDSA, and then it led to, EDSA DOS, and then it led to Gloria Arroyo as president in 2004. But what's interesting here also, Mike, is itong how politics has changed so much, and your careers, where they've led you. You're running for mayor with Bongbong Marcos. Is that something that you thought that you never thought would happen, or that anong tingin mo doon, no? Parang how did you make that shift from student leader, activist, Spice Boy to running under Bongbong Marcos's party?
Yes, Pia. Actually, to my mind, I've been consistent with my position kung sino yung loyalty ko and sino yung sinusuportahan ko since if you recall in 1998, in fact, kaya medyo naging more or less nakilala yung Spice Boys because we stuck with the opposition. We were part of the opposition then. And we were aligned with the Lakas NUCD at that time. At ako, liberal pa ako. That was the early part of the Liberal Party nung umpisa na yan. And it was in my second term. After which, you're correct, I was invited to join the cabinet. So I serve also as cabinet secretary, the head of the housing. Ngayon, throughout the years, si Senator Bongbong Marcos, I've seen him perform when he was in the Senate, although hindi kami nagkasama when he was in Congress. But I saw him when I was in the cabinet, governor naman siya noon. At nakita ko naman yung naging performance niya during that time. And now, well actually, ang nangyari din dyan, malaki yung naging role nung local politics. As you well know, when this was happening, si Bongbong Marcos was not yet a very strong candidate. And nag-usap kami, and I found out yung Philippine Star was being used against me. Ang sinasabi nila na do not align with Mike Defensor and we will allow you to put up the stories you want. Meron kang express email and just any story that you want. Pwede mo nang i-email sa amin directly. And Bongbong Marcos mentioned this to us, and in fact during that time, during our discussion, hindi pa siya decided to be president at the time, pero binanggit niya na that whatever is the position, kasi she was still contemplating which position he would run to. Ang sinabi niya, ang grupo ko dito sa Quezon City would be your group and Bingbong Crisologo. And to be honest, marami ding mga presidential aspirants na siyempre may mga negotiations, may mga discussions. And ganun din, we found out that Philippine Star was being used against us. And so consistent with our view that si BBM performed well when he was senator, when he's governor, and given yung machinations that was happening in Quezon City, immediately we decided to join Bongbong Marcos. A week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks after that, grabe na yung naging survey niya, lumakas na siya ng lumakas. In fact, in Quezon City now, he's maybe at 73% of the voters of Quezon City. And cuts across the class, A, B, C, D, and E, talagang Bongbong Marcos is leading all the way.
Well, those good survey standings for Bongbong Marcos, do they trickle down to you in your run for mayor? Because you are, of course, challenging, you're going up against an incumbent. So the question there is how difficult or easy will it be? We're going to ask you to answer that question, Kong Mike Defensor, in just a bit. We'll be back after a quick break. Welcome back. This is Politics as Usual. We're speaking to Quezon City mayoral aspirant and Anak Kalusugan Party List Representative Mike Defensor. So Mike, you're challenging an incumbent. How difficult or easy is it going to be? And those survey rankings for a BBM, does that translate to a good showing for you in the mayoral race?
Well, the surveys would say that, pero siyempre sa ground, makikita mo naman talaga when you go around, when you talk to people, sinasabi ng mga tao, kung kayo yung kandidato ni Bongbong Marcos, then we will support you. So yes, I do believe that may translation ang kay BBM. In fact, I've been candid and frank about this kasi di ba usually ang local machinery or the local group are the ones helping the presidential candidate or yung national candidates. But in the case of Bongbong Marcos, siya na yung nagdadala sa amin eh. Siya na yung parang sinusuportahan kami ng tao because of him. And I think many of the people running now, candidates running now, and I know of some, na talagang sinasabi nila. Ito na talaga, si Bongbong Marcos na talaga yung nagdadala sa kanila at hindi na sila yung nagdadala kay Bongbong Marcos.
Mike, it's not unusual syempre no for parang ang tao nga doon parang strange bedfellows daw because for example in the alliance that is supporting BBM, there's also the party of Erap Estrada, former President Erap Estrada, who you filed that impeachment case against. So I wish we had more time to discuss that, but I only have 3 minutes to go. So I wanted to move on and ask you about, if you do become mayor, what are you going to do for Quezon City?
Well, first of all, Pia, ang isang malaking problema namin dito really is the pandemic. We're still number one in terms of cases, in terms of mortality. Of course, bumababa na yung pandemic cases. But moving forward, ano yung mga kailangan gawin? Number one, education is still very critical. Dito sa Quezon City, ang graduates lamang is about 20% of the total population. So for the past 3 decades, the party of Joy Belmonte has been there, and yet they have not focused on giving the skills and proper education, yung edukasyon at skills development ng mga tao sa Quezon City. Number 2, malaki pa rin yung problema namin sa graft and corruption. Yung business permits, ang dami narinig kang problema, yung mga lagayan dyan. We have to stop that in order to attract businesses in Quezon City. Given the pandemic situation, we have to, dapat yung pag-increase ng real property taxes, hindi ituloy sa December. And of course, magkaroon ng discount yung businesses. Because maraming nalugi, maraming nagsasara. And yung pangkabuhayan issue, we still have to focus on that. And I think the livelihood programs, 30 billion ang budget namin eh. And if we allot 2 to 3 billion pesos para pautangin yung mga tao to make them sustain their current businesses para mabuhay nila, I think these are the critical programs that we need in order to push the local economy of Quezon City back. And of course, the national economy in general.
In the last year and a half, Kong Mike, you've been controversial twice over. First, for the ABS-CBN franchise. So my question there would be, as a mayor of Quezon City, you wouldn't be able to vote on a franchise application of ABS-CBN in Congress, no? So how would you try and affect that outcome? And at the same time, the other controversy is ivermectin. And you talked about, how the pandemic is still the number one problem for everyone. So, are you going to be offering ivermectin in Quezon City?
No, Pia, let me just clarify first on the ABS-CBN issue. Ako, ang boto ko dyan was always on a principled basis. I can debate with anyone anytime, not even with Joy Belmonte. If she wants to debate with me about it, okay ako. But if the others would like, in fact, I openly asked senatorial candidate Erin Tanyada, because he had a different position and tinag niya ako in one of his posts, to an open debate, and I'm open about it. Pagka nag-usap tayo ng franchise, it is actually a business proposition. So pag nag-apply ka, you have to comply with the laws and the Constitution. If there were violations, in fact, Pia, you saw all the hearings that we've had, wala naman, sinasabi tama yung ginawa, tama yung nangyari. Now, look, moving backwards, i-rewind natin yung sitwasyon. If you recall, it was actually Speaker Sonny Belmonte who was speaker when the ABS-CBN franchise was renewed. For 2 years, pinatulog nila yun, hindi nila pinag-usapan. Tapos kami, na inabot, na deadline na, in fact, wala na nga yung franchise ng ABS-CBN, we had to discuss, debate, and investigate the franchise of application
because
of ABS-CBN.
Because it was about to expire, right? Okay.
Yeah, because it expired in fact during that time. So kung titingnan nila yung record ko na nag-debate and I can stand by my position, at yung 2 years na pinatulog ng Speaker si Sonny Belmonte at that time, tingin ko naman mas malaki yung pagkakasala niya compared to what happened to us during the deliberations. Now, number 2, in the case of ivermectin, again, I stand by that. Hanggang ngayon, wala pa namang cure eh. At that time, when we were proposing ivermectin, ang daming namamatay sa Quezon City. Pinakamataas yung cases ng Quezon City. So, now that they have vaccination, okay lang yan. But those who would still want to ask for ivermectin, we still help them.
Right.
And again, it's based on a scientific and medical position.
Okay, my last question to you, Kong Mike, because Ellen Nieto is waiting on the other line. You turned 53 on June 30 of all days. Very interesting, June 30. And next year, June 30, 2022, that is the day that the new president will take his oath of office. Who do you hope takes that oath?
I'm very sure it will be Bongbong Marcos.
Thank you very much for joining us tonight, Congressman Mike Defensor. Moving on to our next guest. Tonight, we're also joined by Cainta Rizal mayoral aspirant Ellen Nieto. Good evening, Attorney Nieto. Thank you very much for joining us. You're not and you're joining us by phone. We have a little bit of a problem, I think, with the signal there in Cainta. But anyway, ma'am, you are not the first to run to replace his or her spouse. Your husband, Mayor Kit Nieto, has reached his 3-term limit, right? A lot of people would say that, or ask, are you going to, be a seat warmer, warm his seat for 1 term and then he'll come back after that 1 term? Ganun ba yun?
Hi, Pia. Thanks for having me. Well, I anticipated that question. And
yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yeah, I anticipated that question, and I think I should be looked at as someone that's beyond the seat warmer. And my whole platform is just for continuity and sustainability of all the gains of Mayor Kit's 8 years.
Okay. So your husband also had landslide victories, if I'm not mistaken, in 2016 and 2019.
That's correct.
What do you before we talk about what's going to happen itong 2022? What do you attribute this to? Bakit malakas siya? Bakit siya nanalo in those last 2 elections?
Simply by his results. Although most aspirants or candidates make promises, at the end of their terms, they will always be gauged by their results. So, yeah, mainly because of that.
And by the way, kanina, the seat warmer issue, no? In 2025, of course, we are presuming that if you win and then by the end of your term, 2025, are you going to run for re-election, or is your husband, Mayor Kit, going to be running?
At this point, I think I haven't thought of it that far, and same with my husband. So we like to focus on 2022 first.
All right. You're running against Alvin Patrimonio, who is a very popular basketball star. That doesn't make you nervous at all.
I'm just happy to have a worthy opponent, I guess.
Well, you're so diplomatic.
It should be.
Worthy opponent. Okay. You're a lawyer, no? But your platform is going to be what? Based, focused on health, the pandemic. A while ago, I was talking to Mike Defensor. He was saying number one problema pa rin, the pandemic, of course.
Yeah.
You're going to focus on this One Cainta Municipal Hospital. Is that correct?
Yes. First of all, the hospital has gained a lot of improvements during Mayor Kit's time. And because of that, we're able to address all the pandemic issues with COVID and all. But there needs to be done, there's a lot more to be done, especially with post-pandemic and, of course, and also not just illnesses, but also on the wellness side.
That's good. Kanina I was asking about you going up against Alvin Patrimonio, and syempre, well, of course, if I ask you, what do the surveys there in Cainta say, I'm sure you're going to be saying that ikaw ang malakas dahil, you're practically, in a way, the incumbent, right?
I have no opinion on that, or I have no reaction on that. I'm not the incumbent.
Well, yeah, that's why I said practically. Or married to the incumbent.
Okay, better.
Okay. I just noticed blue pala yung kulay nyo. Bakit blue?
It's always been blue, and I guess it's a common color for us, for my husband and myself. It's a favorite color, so.
Okay, and palagi daw siyang nakamaong at t-shirt.
Yes, that's just the everyday staple.
Why?
I guess for comfort. Mainly for comfort. No, because he also does his rounds daily and mostly on weekends. Sometimes naka-shorts pa siya. So, you need to feel comfortable when you do your rounds.
Okay.
It's just practical.
All right. We're going to have to take a very quick break. More from our guest, Ellen Nieto, who's running for mayor of Cainta, Rizal, when we return. This is Politics as Usual. We're on our final stretch. This is Politics as Usual. My guest now is the mayoral aspirant for the town of Cainta in Rizal, Ellen Nieto. Her husband is the incumbent mayor, 3-term mayor, I was about to say Kit Nieto. Attorney Ellen Nieto, we were asking a while ago about your program of government for Cainta. Apart from continuing what your husband, Mayor Kit Nieto, is doing or has done for Cainta, what else do you plan to do if you do win?
Well, I would think that aside from continuing all of those programs, they also need to go on a level 2, just to upgrade things, maybe introduce better ways to deliver health services and other social services, add more technology to it. So with the challenges of in the pandemic, I think on the technology side, that's something that it's an opportunity.
Cainta is known for, pag merong bagyo, halimbawa, minsan medyo binabaha or, do you have any plans, how are you going to handle that?
For starters, Mayor Kit has already been doing his usual routine on that, the continual dredging and creation of cisterns in different areas. In fact, in my village, we already have 2 cisterns. So, but the approach, there should also be a bigger approach from the national government. And Mayor Kit has been lucky to have great guidance and support from our Congressman, Jack Suarez.
Yeah, I was just wondering, parang you're very careful, the way you answer. Ingat na ingat, very diplomatic. So let's go a little bit light since we have to end this interview in about less than 2 minutes. No, I heard you like K-pop, BTS.
You have good researchers there. Yeah,
your niece, Chantel. Sabi niya you like K-pop, BTS, is that right?
Yes, I do. I like them. I like them a lot.
Oh, yeah. What's your favorite song sa BTS?
If it's not today, it should be Mic Drop. Are you a BTS fan? You would know those.
Ito, lately lang, akala ko you were going to say Permission to Dance. But anyway, and you have a cat.
Yes.
That has figured prominently in your lives now.
This is the first time we got a pet. So, I'm doting on him, and my son's grown up. He's 18 years old, so I need
you need a baby to take care of.
Yes.
Okay. Pero pag when you get busy, if you do win as mayor, paano na?
Well, I take him to the office with me, if I can do that.
Not your son, but the cat, right?
The cat, yeah, I'm referring to the cat.
And the cat's name is?
Pussycat.
Pussycat.
Shorter version would be Pussy. Yeah.
Anyway, Ellen Nieto, mayoral aspirant for Cainta Rizal, hoping to replace her husband, 3-term Mayor Kit Nieto. Thank you very much for joining us tonight.
Thank you for having me. Good night.
We've been told before, don't talk politics at the dinner table or the family reunion or in Viber groups and risk digital warfare, but we can talk about it here at this table on this show, your weekly political appointment fix, politics as usual. I'm Pia Ontiveros. See you back here next Tuesday, 8:30 p.m.